in order to get a few more hits and a few more subscribers, I thought we'd milk this coconut of this head a little bit more. As you know from a previous video, the head was severely cracked in 3 places. And I noticed on the back here, they'd put a telltale on the back of the head here to show that it had been overheated. Well, that's a foregone conclusion, is it? Because it was going to boil over anyway. But what have I done to this head to make things really, really interesting? Well, as you know, it's one of those jobs where we've got nothing to lose. So if you've got nothing to lose, well, why not cut it up? And that's what I did. I thought you'd be interested in this. Thanks to the Evolution chop saw, I managed to chop through this. Now, it was a bit difficult, I must admit, because I had a hell of a job trying to clamp it in. But here you can see quite clearly, this is where, what goes through there? Oh, that goes through your injector, but I'll show you that the other side. But what I did was, I cut smack bang between the valves, just to say how much meat is on this side if you get a crack here. And it's quite a lot. It was quite surprising even to me. All right, so look at that very carefully. It's interesting, isn't it? See, what a hell of a job. I was up at 1 o'clock in the morning cutting through this. So I'll show you that, and now let's have a look at the opposite side. Sorry about that, I had a Purelator delivery. Let's have a look at this. This is the opposite side, and you can see here I cut clean through the injector port. You can see here the tap-in for the hold down stud and the little dowel. Here's a bolt hole, here's a bolt hole, so that went really, really well. But what I wanted to do is, you can see here I cut right through between the valves, and it was a nice cut because I could keep the head steady on the ends. It was rocking and rolling about a bit. Well, you can see here when we get cracks between the head, between the valve seats, should I say, it's not all that bad, but I really strongly suggest you get a pressure test because there's plenty of meat in there. Look at all that meaty stuff, all that meaty goodness. You see, it's not too bad. But when we have a look at the other side, slightly different story because I took a cut off a different section and I cut across this exhaust port to hope you could see where this crack was. Well, unfortunately, it was a bugger to cut. But you can see quite clearly here, if you start taking a lot of meat out of this here to try and make it the same diameter as here, it's kind of thin, isn't it? And the valve guide here, if you start chewing away at metal here and rounding it off, there's less and less support for that guide, and they are a press fit, so it's important. You can see here, this is where the push rod tube goes. It's interesting, isn't it? But it's very thin round here. So I'd like to take another cut under there, but I think I'd have to take it to a machine shop to cut that down and have a look, because I haven't got really much clamping ability on my chop saw. On the other end, well, it was getting a bit flippy floppy because I couldn't hold it. But what I did was, I got my grinder with the soft disc in it, and eventually eroded all this down here, so you could see where the glow plug is. Now, I have had glow plugs crack through here before. You know, I've had cracks come through the glow plug. So there you go, that's interesting, isn't it? And you can see again, there's your coolant passage to come through here, and there's your coolant passage on the top. So there isn't that much there to cut through. See? So there's a good look at a cylinder head. I'm going to keep that for customers to have a look at because it was really interesting. I'd like to take some more cuts of the head, but my God, it's hard on your blades, and it's hard on you as well because I had to cut them sort of flat like this. I'd really like to cut them like that, but I couldn't get the height. Hope you like that. And it's thanks for Patreons and supporters I can do things like this. I can take the time, and I can also get through a $100 blade cutting that up. So thank you very much, one and all. If you've got any questions, ask me and I'll see what I can do, because we could do some more cuts on this, but like I say, I'd have to take it down to the machine shop so they can clamp it and put it through the miller and just plough it off and have a look at some different sections. But I think we've got it covered, what is in the side of the head, And you can see now why they're kind of expensive, because they look a very complicated casting to make. Alright, we'll see you later. Bye bye.